Morning everyone and welcome back to Slowpoke Racing with the Ultimate Racing League, sponsored by Prop Up and Co. Sorry for the delay this morning again. I mean, I have to check the laptop's working, but you know that by now. But I seem all out of sorts this morning. You know when you think you're ready and then you find something you've not done, so you do that, and then you realise there was something else that you've not done, so you do that, and then there was something else. That's how it's been this morning. Just when I think I'm ready to go, I'm not. But anyway, enough of my my problems. Back to the racing. This is our Sunday Championship, most popular one that we've got in the Ultimate Racing League. 6 leagues running on a Sunday. I'm with the Pro Split 2 guys, and we're at round 8. We've reached round 9. What am I talking about? We're at round 9. Yes, I'm just writing it all down wrong, aren't I? There we go. I've got the wrong bit of paper. See, I'm all out of sorts. I've got the wrong page open. Round 9. So is it the penultimate round they call it? So only one more round after this. What a fantastic season it's been as well. We've seen the lead sort of chop and change. Dan Gower. We've seen people like, well, you can see on the top left there up at the grid, Mika coming through. It has been an absolute fantastic season. And to finish it off, we're going to start with the 2 new tracks. So this week, we are over in Abu Dhabi. Now then, there's only, I think it's 11, only of the 11 guys have braved it due to the conflict, but a few of them decided not to come. But we have 11 guys on the grid, so they all did sneak into Abu Dhabi somehow. Whether it be they tunnelled in or flew in or whatever they did, but they've got here over in the United Arab Emirates. Fantastic track. This is our first race as well, I believe, in our Sunday Championship at Yas Marina. 3.2 miles, 16 turns, and it is traditionally the F1 final race. It's the final race of the F1 circuit. So, yeah, and a great track as well. And well, if you're going to race this track, you've got to do it in the dark, haven't you? Because it is lit up and it looks absolutely spectacular. So really looking forward to this one. So without further messing about from me, let's have a look down the grid and look at that. What a view. What a fantastic view. Crowd capacity there. Look, left and right, all the posh people on the right-hand side in the private boxes. And then you got all the poor people on the left, but nevertheless, what a great view that is. So let's have a look down the grid and see where everybody is. Let's get the right camera, and there we go. So on pole position then, it is Dan. Just behind him, his Gower. He's on a bit of a roll, actually. He's had 2 poles and 2 wins over the last couple of weeks, but Dan out to spoil that little party for him today. Then we've got Mika. He's in 3rd. Nath, thank you very much to Nath, as always, for saving and sharing the replays. Really appreciate that. He's found his form now. He's been, where is he? He's got 2 podiums, hasn't he? He's had 2 podiums in the last 2 weeks. So been quite steady all season as Nath, but really starting to come into it now. We've got Paul. He's sitting there in 5th. Now, Paul's highest finish so far has been, he got himself 2nd. He got him onto the podium and got himself a P2. In where was that? That was round 4, I think, race 2. So a few races ago. So it's about time Paul got himself back up there on the podium. Then we've got Grasshopper in 6th. We've got Harry Poppins in 7th in that fantastic livery. I know I say it every week, but I do love that livery. We've got P White in 8th. We've got Stubbs in 9th. He was 6th last week. Always hovering around the mid-pack. So, again, he'd been another one tonight. Nice to see him get himself up there on the podium. Another fantastic livery as well. Who doesn't like a bit of pink and white in there, eh? So that's Stubbs in 9th. Then we've got Bloomfield in 10th, one of our newest commentators. So, head over and check him out on YouTube. I think it's Apex Bloom Racing. He'll have to correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. I've got it written down somewhere, but like I say, I'm having a nightmare this morning. But that's Bloomfield in 10th, and then Brian Moncarney in 11th. And, well, he's been hovering around the back, hasn't he, Brian Moncarney? And that is really not like him. So he's all out of sorts this season. I'm really expecting him to be a lot further up the grid, and I think, to be fair, I think he expected to be further up the grid, but he is where he is, and he'll keep battling away nevertheless. So back up to the top, and shall we get this race started here at Yas? The first one for us, the first one for me to do the commentating on, actually. Yas, so it's a bit of a cherry being popped for everybody here. So let's get some lights on, grid start, as we have this season. Wow, long hold that was, but we are away and racing here in Abu Dhabi then for round 9 of our Sunday Championship, as Dan takes us down into the first left-hander. Now then, there is a problem with track limits, just spotting there as Dan went very, very wide. We have had quite an issue with track limits. Apparently the game does allow you to get away with a few of them. So the guys have got to behave themselves. I'm not here to police it. If we see it, we see it. If we don't, we don't. As Gower takes the lead after that slight mistake from Dan, but Dan fighting back now. This is a 25 lap race, and all tyre compounds must be used. So there will be quite a mixture of strategies in there as they come down this long straight, 1,150 metres of it, down towards the hairpin turn at turn 6 and 7, and Gower on the outside. Dan just going to get it in there first, I think, on the inside, but it just backs out. He doesn't want to, you don't want to be able to come in together there, but Dan really putting Gower under a lot of pressure as we exit that chicane. Everybody's still pretty bunched up. Paul has made his way up into third, so this is more like it from Paul. He's got Nath practically pushing him along, sitting there in fourth. Mika hovering around there just behind them in fifth. As we come up towards the hairpin, this is the banked Marsa corner. It's a high-speed 5% banked sweeping corner, apparently. That's what my notes say anyway. Then we come into quite a tricky section, actually. This is the hotel section. Do you know what? Forget all that. We'll do a look. What have you? We'll do all of that when we do a lap. We do an onboard, don't we? So forget that. We'll do that when we do it. As Gower comes on quite a bit of attention from Dan. Dan gets his nose in front as they get around that hotel section, and Dan retakes the lead. So he started on pole when he started this race, and it looks like he's going to be on pole in the lead of this race when he crosses the start-finish line to complete lap 1. So it is Dan leading from Gower. Gower having a look up the inside as they get down towards turn 1, but just backing out of that one. Paul still sitting there in third. Let's have a look at the tyres, shall we? So Dan on the mediums, Gower also on the mediums. Paul is on the softs, so he really does need to get a hurry up and get past the two guys in front of him before those softs start to degrade. We've got Nath on the mediums sitting there in fourth. Mika in fifth. Everybody, as you will notice, is in the Jag. It is a one-make series as we come around turn 5 at the north hairpin and onto this long straight. Grasshopper in 6. He's on the mediums. Harry Poppins, he started on the mediums. Stubbs in 8. He's also on the mediums with P. White, Bloomfield and Brian Moncani all on the hard tyres for the first stint, as Brian Moncani gets a bit of a look at Bloomfield on the inside. Oh, it's going to get a bit tight there, but managed to avoid contact. Brian Moncani trying the cutback as Bloomfield goes a little bit wide on the exit of the hairpin turn at 7. Now the track limits, as I say, the guys have to behave themselves because the game does allow you to get away with them in some corners. If you absolutely abuse them, you will get... Oh, and we've had a change of lead. Sorry, we completely missed that. Let's have a look. Sorry, we're going to go back and see where Paul made his move. As we come up this long sweeping left-hander at turn 8, all the way to turn 9. Now we get down to the banked Marsa corner, and it is Dan out in front now. Then Paul, using those softer compound tyres, takes a much tighter line. Fantastic move from Paul to get himself up into the lead. That's exactly what he needed to do, although Dan is fighting back as we head towards the trickier sections at turns 11, 12, 13 and 14 through the hotel section, but Paul managing to hold on to the lead. Dan pushing him all the way. Gower's now down into third. He won't like that, will he? Oh, a bit of slippery there from Paul. Managed to hold on to it as we come towards the end of lap 2. Nath still sitting there in fourth. Then we've got Mika, Grasshopper, Harry Poppins, Stubbs, P. White, Brian Moncani and Bloomfield. So everybody's still pretty close together in these opening couple of laps. So we'll go back up to the top and we'll follow Paul as between Paul and Dan decide to remove all of those brake markers. What a stupid place to put them, to be fair. So get rid of them, we don't need them. So Paul and Dan just removing them for everybody's benefit. As we come around. Oh, where are we? I don't know where we are. We're at turn 2 and 3. That's it, we're at turn 3. Through turn 4, which is more a bend in the road more than anything. And then into turn 5, one of the slowest corners on the track. The north hairpin, that one is. Now, apparently that was reprofiled to make it faster and wider. There used to be a chicane there up at the top. So that's what they've done. They've got rid of the chicane and they've put that tight, that bend in. Down towards the chicane then at turn 6 and 7, and Dan again getting very close right up the rear end of Paul, but Paul doing a fantastic defensive job of keeping Dan behind him. But Dan is just relentless with that pressure, isn't he? Let's have a look. Who should we go on board with? Let's go on board with Grasshopper, shall we? We get a bit of a view of what's going on behind. You've got Harry Poppins just behind us, and then we've got Mika just in front, just waiting for something to happen up ahead. As you can see, Nath and Gower having a bit of a door swapping session there. And it looks like Gower's managed to get the better of Nath on this occasion and keep himself in that third position. Again, another quick look behind. Harry Poppins sitting there in 7th, trying to cut that corner at turn 12. Not quite sure of where we are at the minute on this this track. Let's get out of there, because like I say, we will do a lap with somebody. Harry Poppins sitting there in 7th, tucked up behind Grasshopper at the minute. Then we've got a bit of a gap back to Stubbs. Stubbs all on his lonesome at the minute. Not quite close enough to Harry Poppins to trouble him, but equally he's not being troubled from behind, because there is a bit of a gap back to P. White, and this is where the 3 guys who started on the hard tyres are located at the minute. We've got P. White, Bluefield and Brian Moncani. Not quite sure when these guys will be coming in the GR3s and the GR4s. Most of the guys on hard tyres just came in at the end of lap 3. You have to do a minimum of 3 laps on each compound, so the guys started on the hard tyres will probably just come in after 3 laps, because it doesn't wear down that much. Different story in the GR3s though. Now then, Paul opened up a bit of a gap and Dan's coming under attack. Now then, was there a problem? Did Dan have an issue? Let's have a look. He was very close to Paul at one point, wasn't he? Oh, it's into this hairpin. Oh, Dan going a little bit wide. I think he was trying to avoid Gower. I think he lost sight of Gower there for a minute and just drifted a little bit wider than he probably wanted to avoid the contact with Gower. Now Gower tucked right underneath his rear bumper, but Dan goes defensive and tries to hug that inside line. Gower's going to have to go around the outside if he wants this one. No, wise decision to back out of that, as Dan's Jag gets a little bit twitchy in between turn 6 and 7 of the hairpin. That's allowing Paul just to open up a slight gap between himself and Dan, but Dan will come back at him. But you can see the tyres now. We're only on lap 4 and the tyres on Paul's car, he's on the softs, really are starting to hurt him now. I would say they're about 25%, maybe a little bit more wear, as Dan goes a bit wide as well on the exit of turn 9. It is Paul still out in front, Dan in second. He is being absolutely harassed by Gower. We'll go on board with Gower as we just go through the hotel section around turn 14, and then you've got 2 right-handers here. You've got a 15 and 16 is the final turn. Again, the car drifting very wide. Lots of places for you to go off of the track, and as I say, the game will allow you to do that without dishing out penalties. If you really abuse it, then you will get a penalty, but the guys so far being pretty careful actually, and doing their absolute best to stay within the lines, as you should do. Not very sportsmanlike if you are going to absolutely abuse the limits all the time. Accidents do happen. So Gower then sitting there in 3rd. It looks like he's got Nath bearing down on him. So shall we do a lap? Well, we'll wait until we get across the start finish line, then we'll do a lap with we'll probably jump on board with Paul as Dandan, Gower and Nate that try and chase him down this long straight. We've got Mika still sitting there in 5th. Nice and quiet for Mika. He's just trying to stay out of trouble, isn't he? Then we've got Grasshopper in 6th. Harry Poppins in 7th with Stubbs with a half a second penalty just behind him. But Harry Poppins just picking up a little bit of slipstream from Grasshopper, but not enough to actually make a move. Sitting there on the medium tyres for the first stint for Harry Poppins. As we come around turn 8, this very, very long sweeping. Well, it turns into a bit of a straight, actually. It's a long sweeping left-hander that turns into a straight. And then we get into the braking zone of turn 9 at the Marsa corner. This really is, it's a great corner, but you put your foot down too much and the car can be pushed too far out there to the right. Into this very fast section at turns 10 and 11. And Harry Poppins just trying to get a little bit closer to Grasshopper. Now Grasshopper, as we can see, is caught up to the back of Mika. Now that should help Harry Poppins, because Grasshopper is going to get slowed up trying to find a way past Mika. So Harry Poppins can then get a little bit closer to Grasshopper. Hope that those two have a bit of a coming together or slow each other up, and he can make a move. But look how close they are. There can only be 1 or 2 seconds between the leader, who is at the minute Paul, and we said we were going to go on board, didn't we, with Paul? Sorry, we'll do it next lap. So there can only be a couple of seconds, really, 2 to 3 seconds between Paul and Harry Poppins, who's sitting there in 7th. Bit of a gap back to Stubbs, but he's not letting the guys get too far away in front of him. He's sitting there in 8th. There is a bit of breathing space between himself and Harry Poppins. You can see Stubbs has just picked up a purple sector though, so he's starting to get a feel for the track now, is Stubbs. I do love that livery. That is a fantastic livery. Let's get a proper look at that. The Octopus Energy, that is a fantastic bit of work there. If you did that yourself, Stubbs, I take my hat off to you. I like doing the liveries, and I do appreciate a nice livery, and if you've done that one, then yeah, loving it. As he goes through the chicane, enough of that, we go through the chicane. So Stubbs in 8th and just trying to catch up to the rest of this pack. We can see we have had a slight change up at the front, and Gower's managed to get by Dandan and get on after Paul now. So Dandan, is he struggling a little bit with this track? Maybe the tyres are starting to hurt him a little bit too much. I'm not quite sure, but he's allowed Gower to get past him, and Gower is now trying to close that gap on Paul. Paul really starting to run out of tread on those tyres as we come through the hotel section. Now then, I'm just going to stay with Paul, because we're going to jump on board and we're going to do a lap with Paul, as long as he stays out anyway, that is. Yeah, he stayed out, so we'll go on board with Paul. So we head towards the start finish line under the little bridge, and we hit turn 1, this left-hander, trying to nick as much as you can on the left. Easy on the throttle, because you don't want the car to run too far out there onto the right. Through turn 2, and then into the right-hander of turn 3, another very fast right-hander. You've got to feather the throttle here, otherwise again it'll push you out to the left and you will end up picking a penalty up. Up towards North Hairpin then, at turn 5, this is the tight left-hander which takes you out onto the straight. As you can see behind us, we've got Gower chasing us down. Then it is a dash, 1,150 metre sprint all the way down towards turn 6 and the entry into the hairpin. Most of the guys will try and stay to the right, as you can see Paul just drifted over onto the racing line, hard onto the brakes. Bump over the curb, the left-hander, then the right-hander of turn 7. Oh, the back end trying to come out, but Paul corrects it. Gets through turn 8, and again it is foot planted firmly on the noisy pedal all the way down now towards Banked Marsa corner at turn 9. Another quick look behind us, Gowers is there. Now then, Paul just losing some grip actually. He would have tried to stay much tighter to that inside apex, but you can see the car starting to drift out as he's losing grip. Through turn 10, into 11, up towards turn 12, this tight right-hander which takes us into the hotel section. You can see the hotel just in front of us. Then we've got the double left-hander of 13 and 14. And I've got a feeling that Paul might be heading to the pits now, up towards turn 15. Now if Paul stays to the right, no he's not, he is going to go for it. He's on turn 16 now to complete the lap. So thank you to Paul for showing us around Yas Marina, but he surely has got to be thinking about a pit stop pretty soon, because that front right tyre is really starting to hurt now. Gower started to apply the pressure. Harry Poppins has come into the pits. He's on the mediums, so he's definitely sticking to a strategy, isn't he? He's came in at lap 8. Let's have a look. It looks like he's the only one. So Harry Poppins then first to pull the trigger on the pit stops. In he comes. Now I did catch up with him after the race actually, and Harry Poppins was telling me that he felt quite ill after this initial stop. So the quick sip of whatever it is they give them when they come into the pits obviously didn't agree with him, and he started to feel quite ill after this stop. So well done to Harry Poppins actually for carrying on and completing the race. But yeah, you don't want anybody being sick in the cockpit of your car, do you? And that's exactly what was nearly happening with Harry Poppins. So like I say, well done to him. Pit stop complete then, he's out, he's on some hard tyres, but he's a long way off the pack now. But they do have to pit. Back up at the top, Paul still holding on to that lead, and look at this, we've got what, down to about 6 cars? Nearly 7 if Stubbs can get a hurry up. So we've got quite a battle actually, as we can see Nath and Grasshopper going side by side as they go around turn 9. It is still Grasshopper and Nath, and the Grasshopper's on the inside through turn 10 up towards turn 11. Nath just getting his nose in front. Oh, there's a bit of a bumper kiss there from Grasshopper. We can also see Dandan and Gower having a good old fight. We'll jump on board with Dandan, shall we, as we go through these final few turns of lap 8. And Paul sticks to the right, so Paul has decided to come in. He's got to get rid of those soft tyres. They've about killed him off. So he's on lap 8. So lap 8 then for soft tyres. Quick look behind us as Gower takes up the lead of this race. Dandan in second. That's who we're on board with at the minute as we go through turn 1. A quick look, there's Nath in there. Mika's in there as well. It looks like Mika's having a bit of a fight with Grasshopper. Let's go and have a look at this, shall we? As Grasshopper slings it around the outside of turn 4 up towards turn 5. Mika dives to the inside. Grasshopper just keeping his nose in front. So Grasshopper holds on to that 4th position. Mika in 5th, but Mika's going to pick up the slipstream, although it is not that great, to be fair. And unless you are absolutely tucked under the rear wing of the car in front, the slipstream really doesn't help you out much. You thought it would on such a long straight, but it doesn't. And you can see Mika there, he got a little bit closer to Grasshopper, but nothing really to trouble him as Mika wrestles that car through the final turn of the chicane. Stubbs still sitting there in 6th, although he's gained a place because Paul's pitted, but he is getting closer to Mika, so Stubbs really is starting to get used to this track. Fastest man on track is Paul with a 1:56.3 on those soft compound tyres, and Stubbs' fastest is a 1:56.3 as well, so not a lot in it, and Stubbs is on the mediums, so he really is starting to get the hammer down now and settling into this race. Just got to get a little bit closer to Mika to start to apply the pressure to him. Let's have a look at what's happening elsewhere then. P. White still on those hard tyres at the back with Bloomfield and Brian Moncani. They're all on the hard tyres at the minute. Let's jump on board with Bloomfield as we come around these final few turns. Are these guys going to be thinking about a pit stop pretty soon? It looks like P. White might be going in. Yes, he is. So P. White's going in. Bloomfield has decided he's going to do at least one more lap. So is Brian Moncani. So a nice little battle developing between these two. So P. White's had enough of the hard tyres and is thinking about a change. Into turn 1 we go then. Another quick look behind us. Brian Moncani is still there and making Bloomfield think about every turn he takes. He's got to defend. He doesn't want to open the door because Brian will be there. Paul in 10th. He's now out on a set of mediums, so Paul saving the hard tyres till the very end then. He's going to have Harry Poppins for company. So both of these, well, no, they're not. Paul is on the medium. Sorry, I was going to say both on hards. They're not. Harry Poppins is on the hard tyres. P. White just coming out of the pits. Well, it's a great exit as well. You've got to say, I love coming out of the pit lane here. I'm glad we don't actually drive it out of the pit, because I'd be pinballing off the walls all the way through it. But yeah, what a great pit exit. The entry's a bit nasty, but the exit is absolutely fantastic. What a great camera shot there as we follow P. White through turns 3 and 4 up towards the almost hairpin bend of turn 5. I say almost, not quite the hairpin. It's a couple of degrees out. We want to get picky, but they call it the north hairpin. So that's P. White. All really is on his lonesome now. Let's go back up to the top and see what's happening. Gower has opened up a very slight gap, fuel light flashing, so he's going to be thinking about coming in then. So medium tyres are lasting a full tank of fuel. Obviously the hards will do that as well. So we saw from Paul's perspective, soft tyres, he can only manage to get 8 laps out of them. So that's what these guys will be thinking about when they switch to the soft tyres. If they leave them to the end, then that means they'll probably be coming in, oh, my maths isn't that great, but is it about lap 17, 18, something like that? They will be coming and switching to the softs if they save the softs to the end. Anyway, we shall see. A few more into the pits then. So Grasshopper's in, Stubbs is in, Bloomfield is finally come in as well. That's going to leave Paul to jump a few spaces at the least. Harry Poppins is staying with him as well. So Paul should move up at least to P6. Yeah, there we go. So Paul now up into P6 then. Harry Poppins in P7. Grasshopper on his way out of the pits. As we say, what a great pit exit. He will come out, I think, in P8. Let's have a look. Yeah, he's come out in P8. Stubbs has come out in P9. P. White there in 10th, with Bloomfield just about to exit the pit lane in 11th. Now then, Gower, Dan, Nath, Mika, all of these boys up at the top. The top 4 are all going to have to pit at the end of this lap. Brian Moncani will be doing the same. So is Paul going to retake the lead of this race, or is the gap too big between himself and Gower at the minute? Let's have a look. Let's see if we can find where Gower is. There's Gower. He's just coming around the double left-hander now at turn 14 up through turn 15. So Gower should stay to the right as he comes around turn 15. There we go. So Gower is in, Dan will follow him, so will Nath and Mika. Brian Moncani is going to have to come in as well. So Paul is just rounding the banked corner at turn 9 now. So we're just going to stay with Paul as he gets up towards the hotel section of this track. And what a fantastic view that is. This is why you've got to race this track at night. It just completely transforms it when it's all lit up. As we follow Paul through the final few turns then at turn 15 and through turn 16, as you can see everybody else still in the pits. Now then, let's have a look. Gower is on his way out. Dan has actually, well, he's not put as much fuel in. He's gone onto the hard tyres. He's not put as much fuel in, and he has come out in the lead of this race. Gower, is he going to get out ahead of Paul? This is going to be close, but Gower's out. Nath is out. Oh, Nath has picked up 3 seconds for the pit lane. That is going to be annoying. And Paul, as he comes around the corner, is in 4th. Now then, he will have known that Nath, he's been told if he can't see it, that Nath has got that 3 seconds. So Paul should be able to overtake him and get himself up into P3. Paul on the medium tyres. Gower and Dan both on the hard. Now then, neither of them put a full tank of fuel in. So again, strategy starting to come into play now. That's why Dan was able to get out quicker than Gower. He's put even less fuel in than Gower did. Now, didn't he do this in a previous race? I'm not sure if it was the Sunday race. It might have been a Wednesday, I'm not sure. But I think he did this before and actually ended up running out of fuel, or practically running out of fuel. So he's got to be careful as Dan. It has given him the lead, putting less fuel in, and he's got a decent gap actually. So the plan probably is for these guys to go to, what did I say, about lap 17, and then come into the pit. So it'd be about lap 16, 17, I would imagine, that they're going to try and stretch this these hard tyres, well, more the fuel, and then they're going to come in onto the softs to take them to the end of the race. So Dan at the minute out on his own. Gower sitting there in second, also not really being troubled. Paul has managed to make his way up into third now. So Paul made that stop previously. He did fill up with fuel, so he's okay for fuel. He's on the medium tyres, so he should be a little bit quicker than the two guys in front. So, although they were out lapped, so we can't even count them. Paul's last lap was 1:57.0. Fastest lap has actually been taken now by Grasshopper, who is currently sitting in 7th. Is Grasshopper. Oh, let's have a look at this. We've got a great battle going on here between Nath and Mika and Harry Poppins. And it looks like Grasshopper's trying to join this party as well. So Mika just holding on to that 5th position behind Harry Poppins. Harry Poppins in 4th. We've gone on board with Harry Poppins. We'll have a look behind us. You can see Nath has now managed to make his way past Mika and up into 5th position, and now chasing Harry Poppins down. Mika are going to have a look at Nath, but he's going to have to go around the outside as they get towards the chicane. Not the best of places to try and make a move on. Grasshopper's trying to go on the inside. Oh, we're going to have to go back and have a look at this. Let's get the camera right, shall we? In fact, what I'm going to do is we're going to do it like this. Into the chicane we go, and Harry Poppins, he tries to come into it. Nath found himself there. Mika's, oh no! Harry Poppins, well, I didn't see that one. And Nath has pulled over, so has Grasshopper. Let's have a look. We'll go back a little bit further so we can see what's happening. Now, we were on this camera view before. Nath up into 5th. Then Mika decides to go around the outside. Grasshopper suddenly comes from almost nowhere and finds himself on the inside. Now it's 3 wide into the chicane. Harry Poppins tries to take his usual line, and both Nath and Grasshopper come across, and well, there you go. Nath's pulled up, Grasshopper's pulled up. Mika says thank you very much, I'm off and running, and goes through. Nice racing though from Grasshopper and Nath. They both pulled over. Grasshopper's pulled over again to let Nath through, so all acknowledging their part they played in that little incident. The one who's benefited the most though is Mika. He didn't get caught up in any of it and just went through. Give him a little wave, I think, as he went through. But oh, what a mistake there, or what a mess up, shall I say, with Harry Poppins, Nath and Grasshopper. All got it sorted out now, and all very gentlemanly, just how we like it in the Ultimate Racing League. We don't like to see people nudging others off into corners and then driving off without pulling over and giving the place back. It did happen midweek, which was most annoying, but these guys really do know what they're doing. Nath, Grasshopper both pulled over. Grasshopper has let Nath through, so we're all back to where we were, and we can carry on racing and have another bite at the cherry on the next lap. All the while, let's have a look back at the top. So Dan on those hard tyres, still out in front, and we can just see there Gower and Paul in the background as they head towards turn 5 at the North Hairpin. And Paul is definitely getting a bit closer to Gower now on those medium tyres. He is going to be slightly quicker. Let's have a look. So Gower's last lap was 1:57.4. Paul's was a 56.6. So he is a few tenths quicker than Gower at the minute, but so he should be on those medium tyres. And he needs to get the best out of them while they've still got some grip. And you can see almost right up the chuff of Gower as they get towards the chicane. Mika sitting in 4th. Now then Nath having a bit of a look as they get down to the chicane. This time he's got it done on Harry Poppins, so Nath moves himself up into 5th. Harry Poppins in 6th. Grasshopper in 7th as Harry Poppins tries to regain that position back from Nath. Just tucking up underneath him as they go through turn 8 onto the straight up towards the banked Marsa corner at turn 9. Harry Poppins trying to get underneath of Nath, not quite close enough, but Grasshopper's getting a little bit closer to Harry Poppins. So Harry Poppins on those hard tyres is really coming under attack, Grasshopper with the better grip at the minute, although they are starting to wear those tyres of Grasshopper, so he's not going to be able to stay on them much longer. So great job that Harry Poppins is doing, but Grasshopper, you can see how desperate he is to get by. He knows that those tyres are going to start to drop off pretty quickly from now on, and if he can't get by Harry Poppins, he's going to get stuck there, isn't he? So he needs to get by Harry now. Is he going to do it on the straight before we get to turn one? I don't think he's close enough. But a nice little fight these two are having. But in the meantime, it's allowing Nath to get on after Mika. Through turn two we go. And Nath definitely on a charge. I said at the beginning, he's really starting to find his form now, is Nath. Let's just keep an eye on this battle at the back as well. We can just about see all four cars as Grasshopper goes around the outside as we head towards the hairpin. Harry Poppins defending that line, but no, gives it up in the end. Didn't see the point in fighting Grasshopper into that turn, and I think Harry Poppins just hit the brakes a little sooner than he would have normally, just to let Grasshopper through. Good racing, I think, from Harry Poppins. Didn't want to spoil his strategy by getting to a fight too much. Unlike these two guys, Nath has got the move done on Mika, made it look easy in the end, used the little bit of slipstream that there is, and catapults himself up into P4 and can now start looking at getting away. Mika on the hard tyres again, didn't really want to fight that one. There was no point with Nath being on the softer compound. He is obviously going to be a lot quicker, isn't he? So Grasshopper in 6th, Harry Poppins in 7th, back where we started actually, I believe. Let's just have a look. Yeah, Harry Poppins started in 7th and he's still in 7th. P. White in 8th. Let's have a look, see what's happening in the back here now. Then P. White has switched from the hards onto the soft tyres and they are about done. So he's going to be thinking of coming in very soon. He's got Stubbs for company. Stubbs really pushing hard. Stubbs is on those hard tyres now. Oh, it's P. White very deep. Very deep. Was it the exit? No, he got round turn 9 okay. He went into turn 10. I think it must have been turn 11 then. Just before they got into the hotel section. Oh, it was at turn 12, yeah. And good awareness there actually from P. White. He could have come straight back onto the track, but he could see Stubbs coming and stayed out there on that runoff area so that he wouldn't hit Stubbs. So that was great awareness from P. White. Really struggling with those tyres now, so I suggest he's coming. Yeah, there we go. So P. White into the pits because of those tyres. Brian Moncani goes through and carries on after Stubbs. Brian Moncani on the medium tyres. We can see we've got P. White and Bloomfield both in the pit at the minute. We were watching Brian Moncani, weren't we, as we try and chase Stubbs down as they go through turns 3 and then 4, the right-hander up towards the hairpin then. Found a couple of different lines for this one. You can either turn in very late and try and cut back, or you can turn in very early, but then you've got to push the car out to the right a little bit more and use that curb. I'm not quite sure which is the quickest way around that hairpin, but I've noticed a couple of people doing it different ways. Yeah, whatever works best for you, I think, as Brian Moncani tries to catch up to the back of Stubbs. Now then, let's have a look up at the top, because these guys didn't put a lot of fuel in, did they? Dandan and Gower on the hard tyres. So Dandan, fuel light will be flashing at him very shortly, so if he's not going to come in this lap, he'll probably have to come in at the end of next lap. But I did think he was going to be coming in around about the end of 16 or 17. Well, let's have a look. I don't think Dandan's got any intention of coming in. No, he's going to do at least one more lap. Gower, he's got plenty of fuel, just about a quarter of a tank, so he's going to stay out as well. But I think both of these guys are going to switch to the softer compound. So we saw that Paul managed to stretch them for 8 laps. So that's probably what's going to happen with these guys. Look. Oh, you know what? I can't even work it out this morning. It is at the end of this lap. It'll be about 8 laps left, won't it? Harry Poppins into the pits to get rid of the hard tyres. Paul in 3rd. One more stop for him. but he's got to go onto the hard tyres if I remember rightly. Currently sitting in third, so this is much more like it from Paul. Again, one of the fellow commentators. So an absolute legend in the commentating world. He is absolutely fantastic. If you've never seen one of Paul's streams, then A, why not? And B, you need to go over and check him out. He is absolutely fantastic at what he does. He's very knowledgeable of the cars and tracks. So yeah, definitely worth checking him out. It is URL_Paul E72 Racing. And yeah, go and check him out. He is an excellent commentator. Currently sitting in third position with Nath chasing him, but Nath's tyres are starting to hurt him now. He's sitting in fourth. Can't remember, I think Nath may have to go onto the hard tyres, the same as Paul, so Paul and Nath could end up having quite a little battle towards the end as we follow Nath around turn 9, then through turn 10 as he heads towards the hotel section of this Yas Marina track. Grasshopper sitting in fifth, another one who's going to have to come in pretty shortly because those tyres are looking warm, but we've seen Grasshopper before, haven't we? Run almost on dead tyres. They just don't seem to bother him. So race leader is in, as we predicted. We finally got something right. So Dan, race leader, into the pits. We said at the end of lap 17, didn't we? He started lap 18. Gower has carried on. He's going to do one more lap at least. So he takes up the lead. Paul moves up into P2 with Nath going across the line to take up P3. Grasshopper has moved up into fourth. Then Mika through into fifth. This will be his last lap before a pit stop. Pretty much the same as most of the guys up ahead, but yeah, Mika definitely going to have to come in at the end of this lap. Brian Moncani goes through, still having a great battle with Stubbs down here for 6th and 7th. And Dan, is he coming out of the pits? Yeah, just about to come out of the pit, so he's going to slot in there behind Brian Moncani and Stubbs. Stubbs starting to apply the pressure now on Brian Moncani. Let's jump on board with Stubbs as we go around the hairpin onto this long straight and race towards the hairpin. Probably the slowest section on the track in the hairpin. Into the braking zone and then try and take as much as you can on the left and then sling it over to the right. Try and catch the back end as Stubbs did, and then back on the noisy pedal and get on off to Brian Moncani. It looked like Brian Moncani got a fantastic exit though out of turn 7 and has just made a little bit of more room for himself as we get into turn 9, but Stubbs very quick into turn 9 and seems to pick all that time back up again and get onto the back of Brian Moncani. So I think Stubbs is definitely a little bit quicker around turn 9. Oh, now the race leader is in again. Gower back into the pit. So Paul has stayed out. Paul's going to, sorry, should have switched camera there. Paul has stayed out and has retaken the lead once again. On the medium tyres, he has got one more stop to make and he has got those hard tyres coming up. Whereas I think the guys behind him, the Gowers and Dan-Dans, are going to go onto the soft. Grasshopper has stayed out as well. There we go. Front tyres just about completely gone, but Grasshopper doesn't care. The fuel lights on, everything's red for Grasshopper. The fuel lights flashing red, the tyres are flashing red. He's not bothered. Do you think he's colourblind? I think that's the problem. Grasshopper is colourblind and he just doesn't know when to stop, does he? He will definitely have to come in at the end of this lap though. Brian Moncani gets himself into third, started all the way at the back of the grid, but now on lap 19 finds himself in P3, has got another stop to make, which will probably drop him down the order a little bit as the rest of the cars start to come through. Stubbs sitting there in P4 at the minute. He's going to have to make one more stop. Dan, all stops completed for him. So he's in a fantastic position at the minute, isn't he? Dan, he's in P5. He's on the soft tyres. Got enough fuel to take him to the end of the race. So it is just now foot down now and try and gather some more positions, although everybody in front of him has got to stop. Gower, he's out, fresh set of soft tyres for him in 6th position, so I think the battle is going to be between Dandan and Gower, because as I say, the guys ahead, the top 4 have all got one more pit stop to make. Nathan 7th, he's made his final stop, but he is out on those hard tyres. Mika on the soft, so this could be an opportunity for Mika to catch up to the back of Nathan. We can see on the left hand side there the leaders are in, so Paul and Grasshopper are in. Brian Moncani will soon be following them, as we're just following Mika around turn 9, currently sitting in 8th. He's got Harry Poppins just behind him in 9th. Now I think Harry Poppins has made his final stop as well. P. White in 10th, no more stops for him, with Bloomfield in 11th on the mediums. So Dandan retakes the lead then of this race because of Paul going into the pit. Gower's followed him through. He now moves up into P2. Paul just making his way out of the pits now. Is he going to get out ahead of Nath? I think he might just do it. Where is Nath? Let's have a look. I can't work it out. There we go, Paul. Yes, Paul has got out in 3rd, ahead of Nath just. So Paul gets himself up onto the podium position. Nath in 4th. He is on those hard tyres, so... Oh, so is Paul, actually. I forgot about Paul. I forgot Paul was going onto the hard. So yeah, this could turn into quite a battle, actually, couldn't it? Paul has got the advantage at the minute. He's ahead of Nath, and there is a gap. So Paul just needs to hold on to it for the next 5 laps. Grasshopper out. He's also on the hard tyres now, sitting in 5th. Mika on the soft. So come on, Mika. Push. You can gain a couple of spots here. You're not that far, actually, behind Grasshopper and Nath, and you've got the better compound tyres. So yeah, I really want to see Mika push hard and make a fight for this. Harry Poppins as well, although those tyres are starting to wear now on Harry Poppins. He needs to try and make the most of those while he still can. Stubbs in 8th. He's out on a brand new set of soft tyres, so again, come on Stubbs, you can catch up to the back of Harry and Mika. I'm trying to look in the up ahead to see where they are. Well, you're not that far away from the back of Harry Poppins, probably three seconds or something like that. Then we've got P. White. He's having a great little battle here with Bloomfield for P9. Bloomfield sitting in 10th, just behind P. White at the minute. Both on the medium tyres, both about the same amount of wear as well. So this could be a nice little fight towards the end of the race. And do you know what? I've not really seen many people breaking the track limits. Now, I did mention at the beginning of the stream that the game does allow you to abuse the track limits, and it was mentioned in the Ultimate Racing League chat that we didn't really want to see that, and we were hoping that everybody would behave. And you know what, these guys have behaved. It's been fantastic to see. Nobody is really abusing them. Yes, we've had people go off, but you do in normal racing anyway. But there's been not from what I've seen, there's been no abuse of track limits from anybody, so it's fantastic stuff. Great to see, and that's what the Ultimate Racing League is all about. It's all about being fair, racing hard but racing fair, and that's what they're doing. Dandan out in front at the minute now. Then Gower, it does look like Gower's gaining, but I think he might just run out of laps. Gower's really got to push on. You can see he's gone purple there. So Gower with the fastest lap of 54.9, and he's got a purple sector as well. So he's not given this race up, has he? He's not going to let Dandan have it. If Dandan wants it, he's going to have to earn it. His last lap was a 56.1. Gower's was a 54.9, so just over a second quicker actually for Gower. So yeah, Dandan will definitely be looking in the mirror, over his shoulder or side mirrors, or he'll be cricking his neck, but either way he's going to be looking to see where Gower is. He'll be getting told over the radio as well. Paul still sitting there in 3rd. This is a much better outing from Paul. He seems to like this track, doesn't he? Having a great race. He is on those hard tyres, and he's got Nath also on the hard tyres chasing him down. We've seen that Nath, excuse me for the choking, we've seen just lately Nath really has found some form, especially on a Wednesday. He's like a rocket on a Wednesday. I think I've raced with him on a Wednesday. I've not even seen him yet, he's that far in front. So really found his form as Nath, and he's getting on after Paul. He's got 3 laps to do it if he wants to take that third podium spot away from Paul, but Paul's not going to let him have it. You're going to have to work for it, Nath, if you want it. Now then, nice little battle here. Mika has caught up to the back of Grasshopper. This is what we wanted to see. Mika pushing hard. Mika is on the soft compound tyres, and he's practically pushing Grasshopper on. Grasshopper, I don't think there's a lot Grasshopper can do about this. He's on those hard tyres. Mika's got himself on the inside as we head down towards the chicane. It is Mika on the inside, so he can afford to brake just a little bit later and take a tighter line through that chicane. Gets it done. Great move from Mika. All Grasshopper can do now is just sit in behind him, hopefully pick up a bit of slipstream and make a move on the straight. He's certainly not going to get any joy in the turns because Mika on the softer compound tyres is going to be able to take a much tighter line. So it's just going to be a mistake, I think, from Mika that's going to give Grasshopper that 5th position back. But Grasshopper's not going to give it up, is he? He's going to keep going. And what a great battle we've got. We are just coming up towards the end of lap 22. So 3 laps to go. Harry Poppins still sitting there in 7th. Started in 7th and he's still in 7th. So no gain, no loss though. That's the important thing. Stubbs in 8th. Not sure where did Stubbs start. Well, Stubbs has gained a place. He started in 9th, so he's actually gained a position. Then we've got Bloomfield in 9th. Battling away with P. White, with Brian Moncarney catching them up as well. So let's jump on board with P. White as we go across the start-finish line to start lap 23. We're on the chase after Bloomfield, up towards turn 1 then. A quick look behind us. Brian Moncarney is there. Back on the power nice and early for P. White. Slings it into turn 2. Gained a little bit of ground on Bloomfield there. Bloomfield and P. White both very conscious of the track limits. They don't want to abuse them. Up and towards the hairpin at turn 5 into the braking zone. Around this tight left-hander, then back on the power again as early as you can. Now P. White will be looking to try and get into that slipstream of Bloomfield. I just don't think he's close enough. The slipstream is not that strong to pull him in before they get into the braking zone and hit turn 6, the start of the hairpin. And no, there we go. Bloomfield is going to get there first. It would have been one hell of a lunge, wouldn't it, from P. White if he wanted to make that move. And P. White is not that kind of driver, so no fear there. Brian Moncarney's got loads closer. Look at this. Brian Moncarney right up the rear end now of P. White as we're on this long straight up towards turn 9. And it looks like Brian Moncarney trying to have a bit of a sniff up the inside as P. White just tries to wrestle this Jag around. Where is he? Where's he gone? There he is. He's that close. Brian Moncarney was that close we couldn't even see him. Tries to get up the inside again as we get into the hotel section, and Brian Moncarney gets it done. He just manages to get ahead of P. White before they go under the hotel bridge. Brilliant stuff from these boys down in 9, 10 and 11th. Great racing. P. White now finds himself down in 11th and playing catch up to Brian Moncarney. He's going to push again, isn't he, P. White? Brian Moncarney is on the soft tyres though. That's why he's able to take the tighter lines. And now next on his list is Bloomfield. Bloomfield on the mediums and looking worn as well. So Brian Moncarney definitely has the better grip as we come up through turns 2 and 3, through turn 4. Now then, Brian Moncarney. We're just going to stay with this little group now as Bloomfield just runs a little bit wide, and I think that was because he was trying to avoid contact with Brian Moncarney. Does pick up half a second. Excuse me. Like I say, I think Bloomfield was trying to avoid the contact there, so a little bit unfortunate to get the half a second penalty. But Brian McCartney moves up into P9. Now then, P White, all he's got to do is stay with Bloomfield, because Bloomfield is going to serve that penalty. You can see the bar starting to fill up above Bloomfield's car, which means he's going to have the brakes slammed on as soon as we hit that penalty zone. We are fast approaching it. So P White looking for a good exit out of turn 8, keeping his foot on the noisy pedal. There we go, penalty served for Bloomfield. Now then, P White, I'm not quite sure what happened there, but I thought he was going to be a lot closer before we hit turn 9, but Bloomfield has managed to hold on to that position. We're going to go back up to the top. Oh, we've had a change of lead and we missed it. Well, a long way back, so apologies for that. We missed it, as the leaders are on their final lap, and it is Gower out in front, the fuel light flashing for him. Dan, oh, his tyres, I bet that's what it was. I really am sorry I missed that overtake. I was watching some of the other guys, and I think the tyres for Dan really are starting to hurt him. You can see the fuel light on for him, but those, that especially that front right, there is practically nothing left on it, so that Jaguar is going to be all over the place. He is really going to be struggling to get it to turn. I believe it's very, it's got a lot of understeer anyway, and then when you've got no grip on your tyres, it's just going to really exaggerate it as we come down the straight in towards the hairpin, the chicane for the final time. And Dan really being cautious now as he tries to chase Gower, but I think the damage is done. Gower's got himself out in front, a bit more grip. Fuel-wise, they're about equal actually, and it is going to be very tight, this is, as they get towards the finish line as to whether they actually make it. Nath sitting in third, he's managed to get by Paul. So Nath on the hard tyres has managed to get in front of Paul and get himself up onto the podium. Paul drops into fourth, he's coming under attack from Mika as well, so Mika trying to get by Paul as well. Well, now then, what's happening to Paul? Oh, he's on the hard tyres, isn't he? That's why Mika is on the softs. Although Mika needs to be careful, the fuel light is on, he's running very there. Oh, it's a bit of touchy-feely there, and I think Paul just lost a bit of grip on those hard tyres and had a bit of a touch with Mika. We're going to have to go up to the race leaders as Gower crosses the line to take the win. Dan closely follows him to take P2. Now then, who's going to come in third? It looks like Nath is going to get that third podium spot and that extra glass of champagne. So great racing from him as we come to the final turn of this race, and it is going to be Nath, or is it? No, Paul. Now then, yeah, well, Paul finished in third, Mika fourth, Grasshopper fifth, Nath in sixth, Harry Poppins gets 7, Stubbs in 8th. Now then, I'm going to go back a little bit because I did have a message, and I just need to check this message. Let me just see. Where are we? So, I'm just going to pause it because I just want to run through this very quickly. I just had a note. So on the final corner of the last lap, Nath pulled over. Right, there we go. So Nath apparently had hit Mika at some point during the race and didn't feel it was fair for him to finish where he did. So he pulled over, and if we just go back, apologies for keep going back, but you can see Nath comes around the final turn and then pulls over. He lets Paul and Mika through, but in doing so lets Grasshopper through as well. But Nath felt he hit Mika earlier on in the race. I just want to pause it as the other guys are racing across the line. So that's why he pulled over. So yeah, apologies. Let's go back and watch this properly now then. So Nath finishing there. Paul is going to come across the line with Mika and Grasshopper, but the race is on for P7 with Harry Poppins and Stubbs. It's around the final turn, and it's who can get there first. It looks like Harry Poppins. What a photo finish for them two. Brilliant stuff. Stubbs gets 8th. Brian Moncani, he will finish in 9th. Bloomfield gets 10th with P. White in 11th. Fantastic stuff from these guys. I'm sorry I had to keep going backwards and forwards, but I just sort of remembered at the last minute there I had a note handed to me about that finish. So well done to Nath. Actually, could have finished on the podium, but yeah, brilliant stuff from him. He just felt that he caught Mika at some point during the race, so pulled over to let him through. That is what sportsmanship is. That's what Ultimate Racing League is all about. Thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button. If you've not already subscribed, do me a favour and help me out. And if you could subscribe, I would appreciate it. And in the meantime, look after yourselves, and I shall catch you next week for the final round, where I believe we are going over to Canada for the other new track. Is it called the Gilles Villeneuve? Must learn how to say that properly, and another track to learn. There you go. So yeah, I shall catch you all next week.